Many people are choosing Dodge this year instead of the make they've been accustomed to driving. If you ask some of them why, they might answer,
Why? Well, we chose Dodge for lots of reasons. You need reasons when you switch from one make of car to another. It's like changing a set of habits. I'm Frank Thompson, by the way, and that's my wife, Helen. She just found a speck of dust on our new Dodge. But about the reasons we chose Dodge. Actually, the reason I first thought about looking at Dodge was a conversation I had with my brother-in-law. He owns a service station, and he just finished relining the brakes on my old car. The tab was over $30, which isn't exactly hay. What's more, it hadn't been too long since my last reline job. Anyhow, I wasn't happy about it, and I guess Bill thought I blamed him because he said to me,
Frank, you notice how this lining of yours is worn down to the rivet heads? It's still thick enough, but just the same it's shot when it's worn down that far. This is about the third time you've had your brakes relined, isn't it?
Yeah, 3 times. So what?
So you've got barely 30,000 miles on your car, and you've paid me a total of nearly $100 for relining the brakes every 10,000 miles. Come on over here. I want to show you something. Now, you see this Dodge lining? It's got to be replaced, too. But my point is, this Dodge lining is the original lining, and it's got nearly 40,000 miles on it. And you know why it lasts that long? No rivets. That's why. This Dodge lining is bonded so you can use it all up, or almost all up.
So that's one reason I went around to look at the Dodge the other day. And, of course, it's one of the reasons I decided...
Well, but you like Dodge styling, too. I remember you said you liked the looks of that low-sloped hood line.
Sure, but I liked it for a practical reason, too. You can see more of the road over that Dodge hood.
Oh, and we like that wraparound windshield. And the way that post at the side of the windshield sweeps back into the roof. Besides looking better, it gives you a better view to the side, too.
Plus the fact there's no knee buster at the base of the post like there was in our old car.
We both thought Dodge's tail fins were the best looking we'd seen on any car.
That's true, but I found out they also help stabilize the car on the road. They've proved it in wind tunnel tests.
Well, anyway, when you stand back and look at the entire car, you can see how everything goes together. You can see what they mean when they say Dodge has a unified look.
And you notice how they use chrome for accent instead of plastering it on? I never did like that gingerbread effect on my old car.
Of course, we took a good look inside the Dodge, too. Let me show you some things in the rear while Frank's polishing the push buttons up front. He just can't seem to get over those buttons. One place you won't find buttons is in the Dodge door handles. So don't worry about breaking your fingernails. Nothing to catch your sleeve on, either. Notice how the handle's flush-mounted? Just lift it like this, and the door swings out wide. The door handle falls back flush again as you let it go. Now, this is the easiest car to get in and out of you ever saw. You'll find in the first place that you don't have to be a contortionist. And then you'll notice that swinging your feet in is something you can do easily and gracefully. You don't have to worry about people staring at you. You look fine getting into a Dodge. You know, Dodge uses the most beautiful and rich-looking fabrics inside the car. They go just perfectly with the color of the car. And notice it's not just in the seats, but in the door panels, too. Incidentally, be sure to try out this armrests. It's in just the right place and really comfortable. Frank likes those big door handles, too. And of course, so do I. But what I particularly like is the tufted two-tone design in the doors.
Yeah, that's real nice. And speaking of good looks, get a load of this textured aluminum treatment on the instrument panel. And how do you like that nice chrome treatment on the instruments and controls? What I really like, though, is to sit behind the wheel and push buttons. Dodge doesn't use buttons just for the radio and transmission, but for the heater, too. By the way, this modern transmission, push-button torque flight, is one of the big things that switched me over to Dodge. Another thing, did you know that you can get just the engine you want in Dodge? Everything from a 6 on up to the D500 or the Super D500. I got the Super Ram Fire V8 on this custom Royal. Suits me fine, but of course you might want to consider other options too.
Getting back to luxury, dear. Something that suits me fine is this deep pile carpet you get in Dodge.
Yeah, that's really nice. Comes in every car except the Coronets, and the salesman said it was optional at extra cost in the Coronets. But something that doesn't cost a cent extra is this thick foam rubber seat padding. Real comfortable. Talking about comfort, though, I like a car with plenty of room inside. And Dodge has got it. Not only in front, but in the back, too.
Neither of us rides in the back, but Frank's mother does, and so do our friends quite often. That's why I want to be sure it's easy to get in and out. And look at all the headroom you get back here. Why, even a tall man with a hat would have plenty of headroom. Another thing, there's plenty of room to stretch your legs when you're in the back seat, even with the front seat moved all the way back. And you know that bump cars have in the middle of the floor? Well, in Dodge it's lower. Low enough so the person in the middle is comfortable. And of course there's plenty of room for 3 people in the back seat of a Dodge. Getting out of a Dodge is easier, too. You see, you don't have to climb over one of those high door sills. You know, the kind a lot of cars have. After all, a woman likes to look her best when she's out in public. And some of the places you get out of a car are rather public, you'll have to admit.
Well, talking about getting in and out, maybe you've heard about something brand new that Dodge has. Helen, will you show the people how it works?
Of course. Frank's talking about the swivel seat up front. Oh, it's really wonderful. And all you have to do is move this lever, and the seat swings out, and you sit down. Oh, it's as easy as falling off a log, a lot more comfortable. All you do next is swing the seat back into position, and it'll latch automatically. Be sure to try it. I know you'll love it.
Now, you notice there's plenty of room up here for 3 people. You agree? Okay. But since there are only 2 of us, Helen may decide to put the center armrest down. It comes with the optional swivel seat. And believe me, it's really comfortable. Incidentally, on this comfort business, wouldn't you agree that car manufacturers ought to make darn good and sure the driver is going to be comfortable and has everything nice and convenient? The reason I say so is because I think a guy can drive better and more safely if he's comfortable, and if everything's especially set up for his convenience. Anyhow, that's the way Dodge builds cars. Take this extra high seat. It supports my legs better, and that's important when you do as much driving as I do. Another thing I like is the fact there's plenty of room for my legs under the steering wheel, and there's more room for me between the steering wheel and the seat back. And leg room, that's really important. I get it in Dodge. But you know, in one new car I sat in, I had just barely enough room to swing my foot from the accelerator to the brake pedal. I'd hate to have to do it in a hurry. And I get plenty of headroom in the Dodge, even if I wear a hat. Something else I like in Dodge are these electric variable speed windshield wipers. Can't get them in any other car. And how about this rear view mirror on the dash? Does away with a blind spot on the windshield. It's the Mirror-matic, by the way. It automatically adjusts to cut down glare when there's a car behind you with its headlights on. And notice how the instrument panel is arranged. You've got everything right in front of you where you can see it. And that 3-color speedometer is a nice safety feature, too. Reminds you to hold it down if you're going too fast. And Dodge has the biggest trunk you ever saw. It's got more capacity than any other trunk in any other car. I really load it up, especially when we take off on our vacation. Incidentally, speaking of vacations, I appreciate good brakes when we get into that hilly country every year. Of course, in any kind of driving, you can't beat Dodge brakes for stopping power. I found that out when I took a demonstration. Did you know they have up to 46% more brake lining than other cars? It's a fact. Another thing I found out on that drive was that this torsion air ride Dodge talks about isn't just conversation. The man told me all about torsion springs up front, leaf springs in the rear, and Oriflow shock absorbers. But I didn't realize exactly what they do till I got out on the road. Believe me, it's true. That Dodge doesn't squat on takeoff the way most cars do. Dodge does have less body lean on curves, and Dodge has done away with that nosedive that other cars take when they stop. It's the most controlled ride you ever had. Well, those are some of the things Helen and I like about Dodge. We think it's tops in looks, comfort, convenience, performance, safety, everything. So why don't you check personally on some of these things we've been talking about? And whatever you do, don't forget to drive the Dodge yourself. That's what Helen and I did. And I guess that turned out to be the biggest reason of all that we chose Dodge.